Good morning, Tom's River, Ocean County, New Jersey, and the Banana Republic of America. I am Dr. Barbara Schneider here live today, Saturday, August 13th, 2022, on Radio Free America, the station, the program that tells you the truth about politics and medicine. As always, I'm here today due to the generosity of Dr. Michael Katchmar, whose studio we are using, and to the technical expertise of Jeremy across from me.
Hey.
I would like to start by plugging local businesses, the backbone of the United States economy. TSF Disposal. If you need a dumpster for your garbage, he's got one. You can you can call in an order or book online. The service is great. And the only thing is there's a surcharge for diesel, which is overpriced, thanks to President Diaper. Lakeside Diner on Lacey Road and Forked River. Great food, great service, great owner. C&G Country Cafe, 2 locations, and Tom's River Heating and Air Conditioning. That's the Petty family. Please patronize our local businesses. They've taken a terrible hit with the pandemic, and they're just coming back. For beauty needs, Frank and Maria's, I was there yesterday, Allure Salon and Harmony Salon. Don't say gray. Beauty can never be undervalued. Ken's Hardware on Fisher Boulevard. You don't need to go to the big stores. They got everything you need. If you don't see it, they'll get it for you.
Yeah, your little local hardware store. It's important.
Absolutely. Let's go, Brandon, for all your political needs on Route 37 in Tom's River. Great store, great products. The Brewery and Distillery in downtown Tom's River for your spirits. Brooklyn Bistro, a great neighborhood restaurant. Red Rose Bakery, oh, wonderful bread and pastries and cookies and you name it. And then when you got to work that off, there's Attila's Gym a little west of here in Belmore. Okay. Ian Smith and his partner Frank run the place, and they have been standing up to King Philip, our governor, for your rights and all of our rights. Okay.
I got 2 plugs.
Sure.
Yeah, I got, hang on, let me switch cameras there. Hey, everybody. I have Taylor Hardware in Belmar, of course. That's another one of those neighborhood hardware stores. Taylor Hardware has been in business for over 135 years, and they've built most of Belmar with the tools that they have at their place. So please stop on by Taylor Hardware. Also, when you're in Seaside Park, I think it's Ebby's South, this amazing restaurant. The drinks there are second to none. The food there is second to none. It's wonderful. Every Sunday they do a sauce, a gravy, or if you will, and people line up to get that so they can have gravy for the whole week for their pastas and stuff. It's a really nice place to be, and the pictures of the food they send me, and I have eaten there, are just absolutely amazing. But yeah, Ebby South.
Okay. So we had a very interesting week in our Banana Republic.
Yes.
So I would like to begin with the raid on Mar-a-Lago because it's on all our minds. This was not just a raid on number 45. This was an assault on all of America. So the idea was to find hidden documents, in spite of the fact that President Trump had been cooperating with the authorities for the documents in his possession. Many of those documents dealt with misconduct by the DOJ and FBI, and they had been declassified by the president. And as you know, by law, the president has a right to retain documents. President Obama has 30 million documents that are disputed in his possession, and no one raided either his home in Chicago, if he is ever there, or his mansion in Martha's Vineyard. So the search warrant itself, which was incredibly broad, was signed by a magistrate judge. So that's a phony judge, and this was way above his pay grade. In addition, this particular judge had posted anti-Trump statements on his Facebook page. So he should have recused himself. And the fact is, he did not. So we start out with a tainted search warrant. And what the judge had actually put on his Facebook page about President Trump had to do with the late John Lewis, a Democrat congressman who was in the civil rights movement and who's since passed away. John Lewis was appalled that Trump had won the presidency because I guess it would have cut down on his kickbacks, and he refused to attend the inauguration. So much for civil rights, rules for thee and not for me. And this magistrate judge said that Trump was not fit to clean the dirt off John Lewis's shoes. Okay, so the documents that were removed during this raid had already been reviewed by the federal authorities. As a matter of fact, they told Trump he could keep them. However, he should put a second lock on the room that contained the documents. The allegation that he illegally kept classified documents is false because he issued a memo on January 19th, 2021, the day before he left, declassifying all the documents. Now we have a hysterical new allegation that he has sensitive nuclear documents and is in violation of the Espionage Act. Well, if he has sensitive documents, what's taken the FBI 18 months to retrieve them? This is all made up. And many of the documents were about the active Crossfire hurricane, which was the Obama administration's spying campaign on the Trump administration. It was also part of the general, I'm blocking on his name.
Oh,
Michael Flynn. It was part of the movement against him as well. The officers refused to allow Trump's attorneys to observe the search. So that's a second item that makes the search illegal. Because once you don't have observation, you don't know what's been planted. So that's the second item. This was an attempt to find anti-American information on the man whose motto was to make America great again. So they went into Trump's personal safe. They brought in an actual safe cracker to do this. And they went through Mrs. Trump's closet. My contention is that they got some jollies and took notes to help Michelle Obama get dressed in the morning. So as a result of that illegal raid, which was totally unnecessary since Trump had been cooperating with the authorities, there have been death threats against law enforcement, not just, everyday law enforcement, but specifically FBI officers, federal officers of the FBI and the Department of Justice. These are the same federal officers that they want to replace our local police officers. They feel that local police officers are members of the community, what a surprise, and are devoted to law, order, and justice in the community. And that's not what federal law enforcement is about anymore. And that's really sad. And what happens is that the federal police forces or justice forces have been weaponized against the citizenry. And as I told you on a previous episode, it really started 30 years ago with the disaster in Ruby Ridge in 1992, and then the Waco disaster in 1993, where 75 people ended up dead. This was mismanagement, misconduct, and a total screw up by the FBI.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Kimberly, because President Trump's lawyers were not allowed to be present during the raid, or anyone really else at all. Yeah, it is entirely possible that anything could have been planted, and the boxes they took away could have been declassified by him. They have no idea what where they were taking. They were hoping to grab whatever they could to again, and it's so disrespectful to this president. They've been nothing but disrespectful to this president, even when he was in office, even when he was running for office. This man never had a chance, and now they're trying to dig up even more dirt so he won't run in 2024. And I so hope he will.
Their fear of him creates the question, who else would we possibly vote for? And yes, in response to Kimberly, since this was an illegal search and an illegal search warrant, you don't know what they're going to come up with, and it can be disputed in court. Again, another court case for this, for 45. And Merrick Garland, our oh, Sean, our Attorney General. Now, aren't you glad he's not sitting on the Supreme Court? He made a statement that he authorized the raid. This is the same man who issued a memo in October of 2021 authorizing the FBI to go after parents who opposed critical race theory, since they were domestic terrorists. So this is his revenge for not having been placed on the Supreme Court, for which he was unqualified. And he has become the striking arm of Biden's war against the U.S. citizenry. Never before in American history has a U.S. president so blatantly ignored the wishes and the will of the American people. This is a cold war of the ruling class against us deplorables and our political wrongthink. So
you know, back in the 80s, we used to tell nightmare stories of what it must be like in Russia, waiting in line for bread. That's what we always said. Well, oh no, you don't want to go to Russia. They wait in line for bread. Or China, and you know, that Red Scare thing. And here's our president on MSNBC, CBS, you name it, on every platform. How are they not seeing it like we're seeing it? It's he's painting our red, white, and blue all red, and nobody's doing anything. Nobody's stopping him. We have a senile old man and a batshit crazy VP, right? And this is being allowed. Clinton has an illicit little thing in the Oval Office, and that's it. Boom, they pounce. This guy, I mean, he sends drone strikes after people he doesn't even know who he's hitting. And every day it's just a mumble mouth of nothing. We're a laughing stock to other countries, and we do nothing.
Because they have a majority, we are unable to get any sort of meaningful legislation passed. However, the Federal Reserve increased the interest rate in an attempt to counter Biden's inflation, which is affecting low and middle income people. I mean, this is a war against the U.S. citizens.
Yes, man.
Now, they just passed the Inflation Reduction Act with the help of Joe Manchin, who had been standing up for Americans. So what happened? Somebody paid off Manchin because he won't run again, but he will retire handsomely after screwing his constituents.
Oh, they all do.
in West Virginia.
They all set themselves up, right?
Yeah. And in this new act, it authorizes the hiring of 87,000 new IRS agents who are also authorized to carry guns. They are there not to target rich people. They are there to target small businesses who
Right.
sometimes deal in cash.
So they're going to send these stormtroopers out and
This is
essentially really attack our people
th-
and their banks and their, I mean,
this
that's
is
nuts.
this is another attack on small business. COVID wasn't good enough to really kill the American spirit and the American small business, which is why I plug them all the time.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the subsequent attack on small businesses. There, this is again a war against America. This is while Biden is sending billions to Ukraine because their border with Russia matters, while we have an open southern border where illegals enter at will and receive funding, while Americans are hurting and have to give up meat and other items because of inflation and have to give up their jobs because they can't afford the gas to drive, illegals are entering and getting housing, healthcare, and cell phones.
Yeah, you know what? On my next door neighbor, they just moved in, right? Don't speak a lick of English. No, they've been there for a couple of months. No curtains, no furniture in the house because they don't own anything. So they've got their cell phones. They've got all that. And I said to Megan, these people came up from the border. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. And here they are. There's no. I mean, there's nothing in their house for weeks and months. Nothing.
I'm sure they can go to the local office and get money because King Philip, our governor, has authorized millions and millions of dollars to illegal aliens.
Yeah. It's just creepy. It's cringy. The people, even in the people in our country, aren't acting the right way. They're being just horrible, terroristic. In fact, in many places, what we were in this country is now gone. It's dead, and it took 2 years to do it. In that grand, like we can destabilize our civilization in just two small little years, and that's that. And now we get force fed this chunk of America that none of us recognize.
Well, Biden's entire mission, since he is a paid Chinese agent,
Yes, ma'am.
is to destroy America. What else is he doing? He canceled all the offshore oil and natural gas leases. We were energy independent. And now he's going around with his diaper begging other people for oil for America. He has sent reserves to China. He is destroying our military from within. It's not just the wokeness and the forced critical teaching of critical race theory in our military. It is an attempt to ostracize the straight white male and to ostracize those who have exemptions from certain medicines that are being forced upon them.
Yeah.
He is just discharging our most experienced warriors, leaving us bare and without defenses. It's unbelievable, and this forced critical race theory teaching is at West Point, and the guy who forced it down the throats of the cadets has been promoted to a four-star general and put in charge of all the European forces. Why isn't our government doing anything to impeach him? Because they can't get a vote to the floor because of Nancy Pelosi. Speaking of Nancy Pelosi, you all know she went to Taiwan and
Irregardless of almost starting a third world war by doing so.
well, that was show. That was all show. Because what she did is she did a Biden or a Hunter Biden. Her son, Paul Jr., is now on the board of a Chinese company and raking in millions. Yeah, that's true, Sean. You're not illegal, so and God forbid you're a straight white male, so you're a criminal. So Merrick Garland said nothing when Supreme Court justices were threatened and rioters appeared outside their homes, and some guy wanted to kill one of the Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh.
Oh.
He's done nothing about Hunter Biden, who's still kicking back Chinese money to Joe, although Joe probably doesn't know it anymore since he can't even put on a jacket. Merrick Garland has done nothing about Joe Biden, who had received $31 million from China before he took the presidency.
And like Hunter Biden, I just got a notification, I think yesterday. He's off, so living the high life and partying, like you wouldn't believe, and in the face of everything that's going on, because these people don't have any kind of fear. They think they're untouchable.
So
Like
far,
I mean, some of the stuff that was shown in the laptop from hell. What the hell, man? Like, and this guy is partying it up because he knows they're not going to touch him. They're not going to touch him.
now they've all been saying that nobody is above the law, and I'm going to get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Because I want to cover what's going on and what we can do to fix it. The leftist elite is about enriching themselves and enslaving the citizenry. That's what Pelosi is doing. You know, I watched a clip of her from 5 years ago when she was saying nobody was above the law and how some of these things happen. And recently, just before the Taiwan trip, I got to tell you, she's mentally impaired too, but she still knows that the Pelosi family has to get rich. The left is imposing or promoting impossible ideas on a central, slightly right-leaning majority. So what are they imposing? The trans athletes in women's sports? People. There are two genders, women and men. And a man who declares himself to be a woman is not qualified to compete in women's sports until he has transitioned, and for 2 or 3 years after that. There is actually a protocol, but these trans athletes are destroying women's rights.
And even Caitlyn Jenner says it's bullshit. Like they should not be competing. She knows the difference, and because she's a isn't she like a gold medalist in track and tennis or whatever?
Before she was Caitlyn, she was Bruce Jenner, and he won an Olympic gold medal for the decathlon.
So if anybody knows the difference between females and males in a sporting event, this person does.
You know, this attack on women's rights, as you all know, or maybe you remember, it doesn't. I did my surgical training in the 70s after graduating medical school. And there was a definite bias against women surgeons. I did a 5-year residency, and every day of that residency for 5 years, they tried to get me to quit. And I didn't. I didn't quit. But the requirement, the standard was so much higher for women than for men. So I guess it made me a better surgeon so I could serve my patients. But I felt that I was a symbol of women's rights. And now this is being destroyed by wokeness and lies. Men and women are not the same. What else do they want to cram down our throats? Climate change. The Debbie says, how much money is enough? They have figured out how to take it with them. That's why the transhumanism experiments, and they think that they can prolong their lives by incorporating robots into their bodies.
Right.
So climate change, guess what? The earth was a lot warmer a couple of thousand or million years ago.
Missed it by that much.
The earth changes, and the earth will be here in 10 years, no matter what AOC says.
Yeah.
What else are they doing? They're attacking the Second Amendment, which has the recent ruling last month by Judge Clarence Thomas on the New York gun laws will put him in the history books forever. He has upheld the Second Amendment, the right to carry, and the right to concealed carry, because we need to protect ourselves from the federal police forces, the FBI and the DOJ.
I can't even believe AOC exists. You know, I see these videos of her, and then I see her talking, and I'm like, doesn't she just sound like a freshman year high school girl who has decided every cause is hers, and she can tell you everything about Beanie Babies, and like she sounds like this like giddy little girl, but
Perhaps
she's not at
perhaps
all.
she should go back to tending bar.
Is that what she was doing before?
Yes, she was a bartender.
Jesus.
And most of the bartenders I know are wonderful people,
Yeah.
but you always get a bad apple.
Right.
So humor is no longer allowed unless it's directed against straight white males. I mean, you've seen the commercials where the white guy is an idiot. All right, that's permitted. So let me tell.
What was I watching? I'm getting sick and more sick. You keep bringing up things that affect me. You know, I get more sick every day when I see. I get excited. Oh, I'm like, ooh, this brand new show came out. Then it becomes woke as anything, and it's just like needlessly so. And I've read the book, and none of this is in it. You know, and I don't understand why they felt the need to to just slap it in there. And even in horror movies, and I was watching something. What the frick was I watching? And then all of a sudden they start talking about white privilege. And I'm like, what? This was like in a movie.
Well, it's like the recent commercial that said, if you have a nice lawn in suburbia, that's racism. That's racist. It's white privilege, because it's a throwback to the 50s and 60s.
Right.
And as everyone recalls, in the 50s and 60s, America was about 80% white. That wasn't racism. That's who we were. We've had a lot of influx of other people into this country. And so the white majority is no longer a majority.
Right.
But just because you have a nice lawn doesn't mean you're a racist.
Yeah. My lawn looks like dogs pee on it. And they do, you know?
Well, Mort loves his lawn.
Yeah. On my lawn, my Trump signs get stolen, you know? That's a grudge I'll hold forever, man. That just pissed me off.
So I read something really interesting about humor in this past week. So there was a joke that appeared on social media. And here's the joke. Every girl is bi. You just have to figure out if it's polar or sexual. All right. Oh man, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So okay, it's funny. It's benign. It's like, okay, so what? So a Washington Post reporter saw it and thought it was kind of funny, and he retweeted it. Oh my God. An internal war occurred at the Washington Post.
Really?
A woman reporter said that was misogynistic. She had previously sued the Washington Post, even though she was employed, for discrimination against women. She was attacked for attacking the guy. Then then another person got involved. He had to take down his Twitter account because he was getting death threats. This went on and on. The first attacker, the woman, was let go. The original reporter who retweeted it was suspended without pay for a month. And this is all because the left is mean and hypersensitive and controlling and vindictive
And
and vicious.
apparently they just read newspapers just to get pissed off at them and complain.
Well, I used to get the Asbury Park Press and I stopped. I don't want to read that crap.
But see, that's the right way to go about it. You don't keep buying it and then writing dirty letters, and like, you got nothing else going on in your life. I'm telling you that now. If you're doing that, oh no, I gotta get the Washington Post, see what I'm gonna get pissed off about today, Margaret, or Marjorie, and then do what you do. You got nothing else but that.
They are fueled by hatred, fueled by godlessness, fueled by, like satanic stuff. I mean, again, at the at West Point, Satanism, Wiccan, and all sorts of stuff like that are promoted. But if you're Christian, you are vilified and tortured and harassed.
Yeah.
And what's even worse than West Point is the Air Force Academy. So
I was watching a stand-up comedian, and I always try to think out of the box when I'm seeing this stuff, right? And then I started thinking about what our future humor would be. Okay. Because usually we, like right now, stage comedians are, they're talking about the transgender stuff, whatever's shocking, they'll talk about, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's going on that is, but this is what's going to be our new stand-up comedy bullet points. It's all of this stuff that becomes illegal, all this humor that becomes illegal. It's going to become a desire. Like I was watching movies. What movie was I watching? It was oh, it was great. It was sexist. And it was it was all these wonderful things from the 80s because it was the times that they were. Benny Hill. That's what I was watching. I was watching the Benny Hill show, and because it just popped into my head, and I'm like, I haven't seen Benny Hill in so long. My grandfather used to love it, and I used to laugh and laugh, and it's so, like, my mind today is watching it. It's so sexist, and I'm saying, oh, but I'm like, but I loved this when I was a kid. It was funny, and the girls that are in the sketches are being funny about it. So
but
what's tomorrow's humor going to be if this humor now is condoned?
its humor is going to be illegal unless it's, again, um, directed against hated
Yeah.
people like straight white
But
males.
it's like this show. This show fills a need for listeners. Okay, they don't. For people who don't have a platform, they can attach themselves to with like-minded people and all of that. But comedy's the same way. With comedy, it's going to fall into what it's the same thing that speakeasies were. You take away liquor, we'll find a way to drink it. It's the same thing with humor. You take that away, we will find a way to laugh again.
So, what's the solution? Where do we go from here? Because I assure you, we haven't hit rock bottom yet. Not with this guy in the White House who's being run by China and Obama and others. So, solution. Wow. Thank you. Oh, Angie Bell. Yes, I know who you are. Thank you. So,
Oh, here's Debbie jumping in. Archie Bunker. But
absolutely.
you know what? There's so many people. I watch a lot of ethnic people reacting to different cultures that are outside their everyday, right? And they've been watching a lot of Archie Bunker, and
Well,
what I've discovered is they're not recoiling from him. They're embracing it because they love it. They see the nature in which it was meant
Archie
to
Bunker,
be.
Archie Bunker knocked everybody.
Yeah.
It was fine. And if you didn't like it, turn it off. Don't go torch the place. But again, it is people are asking, what are you doing about the conservatives who are issuing quote unquote death threats? Not that I've seen one against FBI and DOJ agents. Well, what did you do when BLM
Yeah.
attacked cop stations and cops? You didn't say a word. Merrick Garland was silent. All of a sudden, it's if you're right wing, you're a criminal.
Yeah.
But what do we do?
Well, Jeanette said it here perfectly, I think. We knew how to laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
And that is showing that we're humble. Okay. That's showing that, we do have tolerance for things, because if we can laugh at ourselves, we're not going to take anything too seriously. That, everything, Mr. Rogers used to say, this is one of my favorite quotes of his: anything mentionable is manageable. Okay. And that's what we need to be back at, where we can laugh at ourselves again and we can talk about things without taking things so seriously. We're gonna try to assassinate a judge or something. We got to get and you said it earlier about the churches getting us out of the church and away from God, where we should be moving closer to, not further away from. Like, we have to, this country we used to talk about all the time. We used to talk about the morals that were behind it, the foundations of what this country grew from. And now, in 2 years, it's completely dismantled. The way the people that live here think and feel and laugh and love and hate, it's all so very alien and different from where we were just a few short years ago.
That was the point.
Yeah.
That's the destruction of America, because America stands between world domination and personal freedom.
Yeah, Liz knows all the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do we start? The first thing is to vote in November and ensure election integrity. We have to regain the Republican majority. Now, this is for my son, Sean. They can't be trusted either. I agree. But they're better than the Democrats. And hopefully in 2024, we will reelect for the third time the once and future president.
Mm.
So here's the thing.
See, I hope they turn him into a martyr.
Well,
I hope, yeah. I mean, that's
what
what's
the raid
happening.
did.
Yeah.
The raid backfired. Even people who were on the fence, his ratings went up 5% after the raid. And the fact is, if they're so afraid of him, that is reason one to vote for him. Not just his record, but their fear of his candidacy should fuel us to get our little tushies off the bed, off the chair, off the couch, and go vote for him. He hasn't declared yet, but he must. It's his decision on the timing, but he must run because they fear him so much. And here's what he's got to do on day one, although I'm sure he's got his list. Reopen Keystone.
Mm-hmm.
Restore the oil and gas leases.
Self-sufficiency, please.
And again, it's not going to happen overnight because of what President Diaper did. Send the 87,000 IRS agents to the southern border. Let them stand shoulder to shoulder,
Yes, ma'am.
and keep the illegals out until the wall is completed. And then what he's got to do, he must dismantle Washington, D.C., as if Putin dropped the nuclear bomb on Washington. DJT, I guess he'll be 47 by that time. He must take Washington apart. He has to destroy the FBI and the DOJ. Now, I know that even the conservative people like Sean Hannity said, 95% of the FBI are good guys. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. They've had 30 years to infiltrate the FBI. Yes. Oh, that's good. They've had 30 years since Ruby Ridge. No one was prosecuted for
Kimberly.
Murders. Okay. They have, I would say about 80 to 90% have to be fired you know, like The Apprentice, you're fired.
Right.
Uh, and he has to instruct the new attorney general to prosecute the Bidens, the Clintons, and the Obamas, or support Russia's lawsuit against them in the United Nations.
Here's a really great idea. Okay. If indeed it goes through and it's in place when President Trump gets back into office,
What goes through?
the 87,000 IRS agents,
Mhm.
right? We're going to give them a new job and
In
hunt.
Homeland Security.
Yeah, and they're gonna hunt down all of these illegals that came into our country
Absolutely.
committing crimes, killing, raping, you name it, and get them the F out.
Absolutely. It's not just the crimes. Their presence here alone is a crime. Plus, they are using resources that properly belong to United States citizens: money, budgets, school. Um, they are killing us financially during a recession, which I guess you're not allowed to say that, but we have a recession with inflation, increased interest rates.
Mhm.
They don't want to talk about home buying, but that's way down because interest rates are up and the inventory for homes alone is up now about 35%
Mm.
because people can't buy homes anymore. They're stealing the American dream and giving money to illegals. So they have to be rounded up and taken to what'll be our new border wall
Mhm.
and dropped on the other side.
And I think 87,000 people, right, are
Might be
just
able
the
to.
number to do it. Yeah.
We have to put America first again. Another thing, and the lawsuit that Russia has against the Bidens, the Clintons, and the Obamas has to do with what medical weapons of mass destruction, those labs and facilities they built on Ukraine's side of the Ukraine-Russian border were there to poison Russians. This was, WMDs promoted by Obama, Biden, and Clinton. President Trump has to kick the UN out of New York City. They are anti American, they are anti Israel, they are anti democracy, and they are taking up a valuable chunk of real estate in Manhattan and causing all sorts of traffic jams. He has to reinstate the sanctions against Iran. Hopefully, that can be done before they have the bomb, which they intend to use on us, the great Satan, and Israel, the little Satan.
Mm.
He has to negotiate a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. He can do it. If he negotiated peace in the Middle East, he can do this as well. This war is helping no one and is destroying Ukraine a city at a time.
Yeah.
And it's causing problems all over the world. People all over the world are basically the same.
Oh, the leader of Ukraine seems like he's doing pretty well for himself. I mean,
Yes, he
did
is.
you see that? Was it a photo shoot? Was it or something? He was in the lap of luxury. I wish I was living where he was living. With
Well,
bombs. I don't care. I want to live there.
Trump is the only leader in the world in the past 30 years who has had honesty, integrity, and smarts. And basically, people are the same all over the world. They want to have a nice family,
Mm.
a nice life, a nice job, the money to buy certain things. This new inflation fighting bill for the inflation that doesn't exist. You remember that came out, or President Diaper said that?
Wait, it didn't exist. Then it was Putin. Now it doesn't exist again.
So it gives tax credits to rich people who buy electric cars, which cost more than our gas cars. It is, again, it is a bill designed to crush the average citizen. And so we have to start by voting in November. We can't get anything done with Pelosi as Speaker of the House because she does not allow any bills to come to a vote that she doesn't agree with. And those bills involve anything that may not enrich her. She promotes the two systems of justice for them, for the leftists and the elite, and for us, the citizens. We cannot have a country with two systems of justice. The January 6th people are rotting in jail. They have been denied their constitutional right of due process. This cannot continue. We cannot continue to have medical tyranny and people losing their jobs over a choice they have the right to make about their bodies. And maybe a little bit of medicine, and I have to tread carefully here.
Right.
Okay.
Even our baby words are dangerous, folks, so bear that in mind.
So, monkeypox has been declared a national emergency, as you may well know, and New Jersey is soon to follow. There are approximately 6,600 cases in the United States without a single death, but it is a national emergency. This is a disease that is sexually transmitted to and from gay men. There are 2 licensed medicines that were licensed in 2019. Why so far away? The first outbreak of monkeypox occurred in this country, excuse me, in June of 2003. And it appeared that prairie dogs had gotten the disease and spread it to some humans. So the new bug is very different from the bug of 20 years ago, for which medicine was created. Yeah, Deb. So there is no data on the effectiveness of that medicine on the current outbreak. There were some clinical trials in Africa during the 1980s. But again, that bug is different from the current one. The side effects of those medicines include cardiac events, including permanent damage, and HIV positive patients had the worst side effects, including worsening of their underlying disease. The medicine should not be given without a protocol for treating a severe allergic or anaphylactic reaction to it. And safety in children or pregnant and nursing women has not been established. There is an alternative to medicine, and since it is for all intents and purposes a sexually transmitted disease, the alternative is education and 1 month's abstinence, which almost anybody can do. And that'll take care of this current emergency outbreak of 6,600 cases. I have trouble even understanding why this is a national
Wait,
emergency.
so don't have sex for a week and it's
A
gone.
month.
A month. And it's gone.
Pretty much.
Well, do that. Why aren't they doing that? Why don't people do
Because
that?
that has not been publicized.
Oh, jeez.
Because there's no money in that. Money is in certain medicines.
Yeah.
Yes, humor. Yes, Sean. So it is astonishing to me that you could have such medical mismanagement, but that comes from the dumbing down of medicine. And I've often stated it before, but polio, yeah, get the vaccine. That one's been tried, tested, proven. So yeah, that's the whole point. But people aren't buying that anymore. 6,000 cases. I mean, it's really So what happened to medicine? There was,
Oh, but Liz is right, though. I mean, that's what happened last time, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
but
And
there are certain sheeple who will
yeah,
always go along with fear porn, but the vast majority of us are now
yeah.
wise to what they're doing, and we must not let it happen. So with the
That was a good one, Liz.
so the history of medicine, there was a very wealthy party girl who came into Mount Sinai Hospital
Hmm.
after having taken a combination of alcohol and drugs. She couldn't really tell the young resident what she had taken, and she got shocky. And despite all attempts, she died. Her father, uh, who owns the local newspaper, was grief stricken, as anyone who loses a child is.
Hmm.
And he determined it was his idea that his daughter died because the resident was too tired to properly care for his daughter.
Hmm.
And they went to court and he won. And that young resident was destroyed. She never practiced again. And from that lawsuit, we got the Bell Commission, which determined that doctors who were in postgraduate training could not work more than 80 hours a week. And this became the law of the land. And programs who did not obey, who did not give their residents off after 80 hours, were severely fined. So this 80-hour work week severely impacted surgical training the most. It impacted all doctors, but surgery the most. And surgery is a 5-year residency, and at the end of 5 years, none of the surgical residents who finished were equipped to go into practice. So from that ruling, because the surgeons were not well enough trained to take care of patients on their own, we know it wasn't the party girl's fault. So what happened is they developed fellowships for these surgeons in specific areas. One that concerns me, what affected me, is they developed a fellowship in breast surgery where these surgeons got 2 additional years to learn 2 or 3 operations. This had been incorporated into my training, and I am a board certified general surgeon, as you know, and I specialized in diseases of the breast cancer, and breast surgery way before there was a fellowship. And there isn't a fellowship trained breast surgeon out there who's in my league. However, they have the piece of paper that says fellowship trained, and I just have the record of success. Similarly, they had
Barb, that was freaking awesome. Come on. Hang on. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. There we go. That was fantastic. You are 100% right. And I would go for a doctor who has a success rate like you over anybody's piece of paper.
plus, since I trained before those that Bell Commission and the 80-hour work week, my oath is to my patients
Yeah.
and not the paycheck. So similarly, they got fellowships in hernia surgery. You know, they needed 2 years to learn how to fix a hernia, and they have a higher recurrence rate than I do.
And what seems so right to our listeners, you saying all this stuff, it seems so wrong to the corporate man, watching over. It's as simple as that. You do for your patients.
Well, no, the whole idea now is to test the patient and raise
Yeah.
revenue so that the administrators
Yeah.
can get a good Christmas bonus. Between 1975 or 77 and 2007, there was a 3,500% increase in the number of administrators in hospitals. Where do you think your healthcare dollar is going?
Mm.
It's going to them. It's not going to patient care. It's going to testing and bonuses. So every hospital out there has to be made nonprofit. And half of those administrators, or maybe 75%, should be fired. We don't need them. What we need is a return to quality medicine. We have to make American medicine great again. Nobody comes here anymore. People used to come here from all over the world for the best medical care in the world. Now we're mediocre. Yeah. We're
Truth, Liz, truth.
we are nothing. We're not top in education, in medical care, in safety, in military, in economics. Our universities are bought and paid for by China. We need to change, and it begins in November. And we do have to make America great again in every aspect. And I want to close with a statement for you and for me. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. That's from Philippians 4:6. So it is a beautiful weekend. As Liz pointed out when we began the show, go out, go enjoy it, be free, be American. We have to put up with the banana republic for a little while longer, but we can get America back.
Yeah.
And so Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, and the Banana Republic of America. This is Dr. Barbara Schneider signing off. I'm not gone. I'm here in Toms River, 732-244-2060. You can get me if you need me. So have a great weekend. Enjoy your freedom.
Right.
We got to get it back. I love you all. Take care. This is Dr. Barbara Schneider signing off on Radio Free America. God bless.
Okay, guys, we are a podcast. Remember that. It's after this show our podcast will be on Spotify, iTunes. We have sister shows. That's Painless with Dr. Gabriel Jasper and Lifeguarding with Dr. Michael Katchmar and Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Katchmar. You can catch them all on your podcasts as well. iTunes, Spotify, Audible, everywhere fine podcasts are found. Thank you, everyone, and you take care of yourselves.